Welcome into the Sleeper Wire show, everybody. Professor Chris and Nader back with you on this beautiful Thursday evening. Happy election week, right, Nader?
It's been a fun, interesting week.
Yeah, it has. You know what my go-to thing to do on this particular day is instead of following the election? It's watching V for Vendetta.
Really? What's so what special about V for Vendetta?
You've never heard the remember the 5th of November?
So I've never actually watched the movie.
Oh man, that's it. This is actually we're just going to change the show. The show is just going to be us watching V for Vendetta together. How's that sound?
You know what? Why not? Is it on Netflix?
No, it's not. They took it off. But I'll screen share it here in StreamYard, so we can just do like live reactions. That sound good?
Okay. I mean, we might get hit with a couple copyright lawsuits, but it's worth it.
Oh, well, guys, we have a fun show for you tonight. As usual, we do something a little bit different each Thursday. This week, we're going to be looking at playoff matchups and also talking what would you do for a fantasy championship. Before we get into the news, guys, Sleeper Wire has a ton of stuff going on as usual. Check out our Patreon page if you want to win a signed Chris Godwin or Kenny Golladay jersey. Once we reach 100 Patreons at patreon.com/sleeperwire, we will randomly pick one person, announce them on the show, and they'll get their choice of the jersey. Also, check out the Sleeper Wire store. Get yourself some awesome Sleeper Wire merch. Let's get into the news, Nader. The big news, finally, it's about time. Christian McCaffrey is back and fully practicing, baby.
I'm so excited. Finally, we get to see an elite RB that isn't Dalvin Cook tear it up, and he gets a pretty decent matchup into the Chiefs. But my question for you is, if you're a Mike Davis owner, you stashing him or dropping him now?
I think you have to stash him just in case.
Okay, so are you considering him a handcuff, or is he going to be like a Latavius Murray where he still might get some touches and become fantasy viable for you?
I will not play Mike Davis as long as Christian McCaffrey's healthy.
Okay, that's fair enough. So he's considered a handcuff.
Yes, absolutely.
There we go.
Yeah, Latavius Murray, I mean, he's got some standalone value. If you're, hoping to get maybe 6 to 8 points out of your flex, but I don't think Mike Davis has that.
Exactly. Fair enough.
We did have some big injuries this past week. Kenny Golladay is expected to be out this coming week with a hip injury. George Kittle has a small fracture in his foot, and Jimmy Garoppolo has a high ankle sprain, and that apparently has been bothering him since week 2. So Nick Mullins is, it's Thursday night game. They're playing right now. What are your thoughts on Ross Dwelley as a 49er fan? How do you feel about him?
It's difficult to justify starting the backup tight end. I mean, Jordan Reed, he is active, and he even caught a pass earlier this game. So I think I'd rather go Jordan Reed before Ross Dwelley, but either one of them, I'd rather not.
Okay. Myles Gaskin was also placed on the IR with an MCL sprain, so he'll be out at least 3 games. So this week, Jordan Howard, Matt Breida, or Patrick Laird for you?
Jordan Howard, he has the most touchdown upside. Even in the beginning of the year, he was vulturing the touchdowns. Matt Breida is currently nursing a hamstring injury. We are not entirely sure if he's even going to be playing.
Yeah, it would be Howard for me as well.
Yes.
Kenyon Drake, also unlikely to play this week with an ankle injury. So Chase Edmonds, got to be in your lineup, right?
Oh, yeah. He's must start RB1 and above.
RB1, huh?
Oh, yeah.
Calling it.
I'm very comfortable with him in my starting lineup.
Okay. Drew Brees, Alvin Kamara, Michael Thomas were all limited this week in practice. The Cowboys have benched DiNucci, so play all defenses against the Cowboys throughout the year. Just drop every player on your bench and just pick up defenses to play against the Cowboys for each week here on out, because they're going to score a lot.
Would you rather own the defenses playing against the Jets or the Cowboys?
The Cowboys with their 4th string running back or quarterback.
They have weapons all around the quarterback. The Jets, they don't have anything around the quarterback.
That's true. They got rid of Bell.
And they don't. And there's an Adam Gase on one side of on the coaching facility. I don't know how you feel about him. I think he's elite. Just kidding.
What, Gase?
Yeah, he's the best coach in the game.
Yep, the GOAT.
It's the best.
I think I'm more comfortable banking on turnovers with a fourth string quarterback.
Oh, that's
Let me
fair.
put it that way.
That's fair. I feel like if you're going against the Jets defense, you're banking on them not scoring very many points,
That's
more
true.
than sacks and turnovers.
Right. Yep. I did play the Eagles defense last week in my money league. They got me 21 points. I was pretty happy about that.
That's safety. I don't know what happened, what they were thinking. I don't know. One coach started Philadelphia defense, and he said, "You know what? I'm going to lose the game, or I'm going to win, so I might as well get some more points."
You think that's what it was?
Yeah.
He had the Philly D in his home league.
Yes. So he decided, you know what? Screw it. Let me at least win in something.
We had a bunch of did not participates on Thursday. Big names: Josh Jacobs, Mark Ingram, T.Y. Hilton, Calvin Ridley, Matthew Stafford, who was placed on the IR COVID list. Sterling Shepard, Devonta Freeman got in limited sessions. A.J. Brown did not practice. You have here in the notes, this was his third straight week in a row with a Thursday DNP. So this might be more just like a maintenance thing. Just keep him fresh.
Yeah, right now he has the queue for questionable on your Yahoo and ESPN leagues, and that typically tends to frighten people when it randomly shows up later on in the week. But it's been the third week in a row that has happened.
Yep. Yes, I think it's safe to assume that he's going to play.
Oh, yeah, he's playing.
Yep. Chris Carson is questionable. Chris Godwin participated in a walkthrough, but Bruce Arians is saying we're going to have to wait until practice on Friday to make that determination. And Zeke is expected to play, but he's banged up. He's limited this week, and he's going against the Steelers. So, I mean, you still have to play Zeke, right?
You do. It's unfortunate, and it's an uncomfortable start, but you're going to do it. You got to do it. If he goes off and you did not start him, you just look like an idiot.
I like it. Well, before we move into our first segment, guys, quickly, I want to talk to you about Pristine Auction. They have hundreds of daily auctions for all sorts of memorabilia. It is free to join and free to bid, and you only pay when you win the auction. And right now, you can get $5 off your first item by entering promo code SleeperWire. Visit pristineauction.com to get this deal. That's PRISTINE auction.com. All right, so we're going to move into something fun that I have personally never done on the Sleeper Wire show. I thought this was a great idea that you had for a segment. What would you do for a fantasy football championship? So we each have 3 ridiculous questions that we're going to ask the other person. At least mine are ridiculous. I don't know about yours. But mine are ridiculous. And just would you do it or not in order to win the championship? So since this was your idea, why don't I let you take it away?
Okay, so I'll do an easier one first for you. Would you give up next year's fantasy league, or just straight up not play fantasy next year for a championship this year?
So would you not play fantasy next year for a championship this year?
So let's be like standard 10 people league, $75 buy-in.
I just wanted to put that on the banner here. So $75 buy-in, standard league.
What type of league doesn't really necessarily matter. 10-team league.
10-team league. Let's say so $75 buy-in. Winner take all?
Winner take all.
And you can't play in any fantasy football leagues?
Next year, yes.
So you're telling me I could get $750 to not play the following year?
Yes.
Could I play the year after that?
Yeah, after that you can play, but you have to wait a whole year. And that includes your dynasty. That means you're going to have to forego your dynasty for a year.
Ooh, that's rough. No, I don't think I would. No. If it was $750 isn't enough for that.
It's not enough.
And I run the Pro-Am and then listener leagues. Then we've got the Dynasty leagues, other Sleeper Wire leagues, home leagues. I'm in 15, I think. I don't think I could give them all up. What about you?
I would think about it. I'd really think about it.
I mean,
75. You could still give analytic advice. You could still give fantasy advice, but you couldn't play.
Still give fantasy advice, but you couldn't play.
Yeah. I mean, think about it. I mean, in a way, it might be better because
You
now
might
you're
give
not
objective
stressing.
advice.
Hmm.
More objective,
You
right?
could. You could be an unbiased analyst because you're not attached to
Oh,
any
man.
players. Think of it. Now on Sundays, you're not stressed. When an injury happens, you don't have to worry about it. That's it. You can analyze it. You can give advice, but it doesn't have to do with your team.
No, I wouldn't do it.
No.
Nope. I wouldn't do it.
Okay. All
I have
right.
too much fun playing. I wouldn't want to give it away.
It is fun. It's a
Yeah.
stressful fun. You know, you get stressed out every Sunday, every single time you see your opponent score or do something good. You refresh your phone, see his points go up, and then you start going through scenarios on what you're going to do if you lose. It's great.
See, I feel like I would feel like I'm losing $750, but that would only want to make me join more money leagues to make that all back up.
Next year?
Yeah, and then you could have more fun playing even more fantasy.
Okay. All right. That's fair. I don't blame you for it. I definitely don't.
All right. So here's one. I guess I might have taken a little bit of a different approach to this than you did. But this
we need to have different
that's
approaches.
what makes it kind of fun. Yeah.
Exactly.
So I'm going to put this here in the StreamYard chat and then share it so you can see it on the banner, and then anybody watching can see it as well. You're in last place, completely missed the playoffs. However, your league comes to you and says, we'll give you the trophy and the money if you eat an entire raw chicken breast.
I'm doing it.
You're doing it?
I'm doing it.
Nope. And I'm not talking about
it.
like one of those little Aldi ones. I'm talking like the Sam's Club ones that are like, the size of a shoe.
I have what do they call it? The thing that sometimes it ruptures and you got to remove.
The appendix?
I got an appendix for a reason. It's made to digest meat. I'm doing it. Give me the money and the money. $750. A trophy with my potential name on it. I'll put a plaque on that. I'll carve it in. And $750 for to eat it? Yeah.
You have to eat the whole raw chicken breast.
Does that include the bone? Or is it a boneless?
I think we can assume chicken breast is boneless.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I'll do it.
You can't cut off that little white piece of fat either. The whole thing.
Okay, that white piece of fat is kind of nasty.
Yeah, or that little red part, that little red knuckly part in there. You got to eat the whole thing.
Okay. Okay, but imagine this. Like, say you're in like a group chat with all of them, and they're all like friends of yours, and you get last. You know how many times you're gonna be the butt end of those jokes?
I mean, is it worth it?
They can't talk. They can't talk smack to you.
I wouldn't do it.
You know what?
I wouldn't do it.
My pride to not get last place. I'd do it. I'd do it.
All right. What you got for me next?
Okay. Would you? Let's see. You're in the championship game, and the opponent, he says, "Hey, I'll throw the league. I'll throw it for you. I'll let you have the win if you run around a high traffic area with a mini skirt dress on." High traffic.
So you're in the
place.
championship game. Your opponent says he'll throw the win if you run around a high traffic area in a mini skirt.
Mini skirt dress. You know,
in a mini skirt
dress.
or mini dress. Mini skirt dress. Yeah, 100%. 100%. Yeah.
You do it?
Oh yeah.
High traffic area. What if your boss sees you?
I mean, weird. Can I wear a mask in public?
No. This is like post-COVID, pre-COVID times.
Post-COVID. I never thought I would have had to ask that question.
There you go.
Yeah, I would.
Do it?
I would, yeah. Because I mean, like, really, like, what danger is there? I mean, I'm still going to be wearing underwear, you know?
But, well, yeah,
you did not make that part of it.
Yeah, but like, what's underwear gonna do with you? What's underwear gonna do for you when you're wearing a mini tight skirt dress or whichever? Like you can already see everything. Basically, it's just visually there.
Yeah, I would do it.
You do it?
Yeah, definitely.
All right.
Yep. I would probably do it even if there wasn't money involved.
Really? That much bragging rights you need?
Yeah, like if all I had to do was put on a mini dress and like run through Walmart real quick.
Well, Walmart's not good enough.
You know, what's good enough? Downtown Minneapolis
Downtown
on a
Minneapolis.
Friday night.
Yeah, Friday, like high public areas, San Francisco,
Yeah,
LA,
yeah.
New York, Manhattan,
Oh
something
yeah,
like that.
easy.
Okay.
I'd do it easy.
All right. Okay.
Yep. Oh, let's see here. All right, I got to go to one. Let me put this here in the chat. The opponent in the championship game will bench his best players if you give him naming rights to your next pet.
Oh yeah. That's
You
not
would?
even a question. Yeah, yeah. That's not a question.
Really?
Yeah. Because his name for the pet will still be better than my name for the pet. Hmm.
I mean, what if it's something like Sprinkles or Sparkle or Pickles?
Still better than my name that I think of.
Really?
Yeah, I'd do it. No problem.
What if
That's
it's a
easy.
dog and he just goes Rover or Skip? Just a
Oh,
generic dog name.
all right, Skip, go fetch. That's what I'm gonna tell him right there. $750. I'll buy a second dog and name it whatever I want.
So you're just assuming that it's $75 buy-in for each one of these.
Yeah, yeah. I think that's a decent baseline. Because like if it's a free league, no buy-in, then I mean, it's hard to imagine somebody would do something ridiculous.
For a free league.
Yeah, yeah. There has to be something on the line. A $75 buy-in. There's something pretty good on the line.
Okay. All right.
All righty. So my last one. This one's a little bit severe, but some people might agree, some people might not agree. You're in the championship league, and the opponent already has all his team played, and you're down by 1 point, and you have Patrick Mahomes on a Monday night. So he's all that left. All I need to do is get 1 point for you, and you win. And you think you have it locked up. Everybody's congratulating you. But your wife says, if you start Patrick Mahomes, I'm divorcing you.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
So you're in the championship. Your opponent has played all their players. You're down 1, and you have Mahomes on Monday night. Your
Mhm.
wife says, if you start Mahomes, I'm divorcing you.
Mm-hmm. 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 Significant
Oh.
other, whichever one.
Bye, Felicia.
Really?
No, I mean, no. I would not start Mahomes. I would either. Well, here's what I would do. I
Okay.
would bench Mahomes or drop Mahomes. It's a championship game. No one's going to pick him up and pick up. Is it Matt Moore, the backup?
That's fair. Yeah. Matt Moore's a backup.
Hope that the Chiefs are destroying whoever they're playing, and Matt Moore comes in for some garbage time.
That's probably the best. I didn't even think about it. That's actually a really good idea.
Is it Matt Moore?
It is. It's something like Matt Moore. Yeah. Matt Moore. I think it is the guy.
Yes, it is.
That's actually a good idea.
Yep, that's where I'm going with that one.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair.
All right. My last one here.
All right.
Would you perform a satanic ritual at the beginning of the season? Doesn't matter if you believe in Satanism or not. I'm talking you sacrifice the chicken or the goat or whatever. You sacrifice the animal. There's candles, hooded cloaks, weird goat statues, the dead of the night, satanic ritual to completion. Would you do that at the start of the season?
Okay. So, I got to kill an animal.
Yeah, you got to do the whole thing.
I gotta
Yeah.
do the whole thing.
You can't be like Pedro Serrano in Major League and just bring a bucket of chicken, a bucket of KFC, and be like, "This is it."
I couldn't do it. So I don't have the ability. I can't watch a movie that's too gory. I can't do
No?
that. I can't stomach it. No, I can't do it. Like John Wick, can't watch it. Like Django Unchained, can't watch it. Stuff like that. No. Like me, I can't watch gore. You want me to like perform something? No, I can't do it.
Okay. I thought that would be a fun one.
That's a good one. That's a good one. And no, typically, I'd say yes, but this one I couldn't do it. Like I couldn't physically kill an animal. Not that like I'm like a pacifist, but I just don't have the balls to do
It
it.
depends on the animal. If it was a chicken, I feel like I could do it.
Okay,
A goat, I don't know.
goat's hard. That's like
Yeah.
big.
I feel like goats are what get sacrificed though.
They do. I've seen it, and I couldn't even stomach that once. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like a butcher doing it just to cook.
So it's like, would you sacrifice a goat for $750? Is basically what I'm saying.
So can I give the goat to a butcher and then he do it, and then
No,
no,
you have to perform it.
Yeah, then that's gonna have to be a no for me.
All right. Well, that is it for the what would you do for a championship. Let's go ahead and move into our next discussion here. Before we do that, come prop up with us on Thrive Fantasy. It is a daily fantasy sports app for player prop bets for the NFL. Choose 10 out of 20 player prop options to build your lineup. The riskier the pick, the more points it's worth. Earn the most points to win a share of the prize pool. Use promo code SLEEPERS when you sign up today, and you'll receive an instant $20 bonus on your first deposit of $20 or more. Download Thrive Fantasy from the App Store or Play Store. And when you use promo code SLEEPERS, email a screenshot of that to us at sleeperwire@gmail.com, and it'll automatically get you into a Sleeperwire listener league. All right, so guys, Nader, you know this. Trade deadlines are coming up, right?
They are. You do be right.
Yeah, I mean they're just right around the corner. Week 10 is when most leagues have their playoff deadline or a trade deadline, and we thought it would be a good idea, since the trade deadline is coming up, to start talking about who some players or maybe teams would be good to start looking at to maybe make offers for players or to trade away your players who have rough playoff matchups for the fantasy playoffs, weeks 14, 15, and 16. So I actually have a Google Doc here that I'm going to pull up on the screen here that has all 16 NFL teams, and let me make it a little bit wider. There we go. And who they're playing in weeks 15, 16, and 17. So I've already gone through the list here and made notes of who I think is going to be the easiest playoff schedule for teams, and also who I think are going to have or potential shootout matchups. So the easiest playoff schedules to me, I think the Eagles have a fairly easy schedule for the playoffs. They play the Saints, the Cardinals, and the Cowboys. I think that is pretty good for the Eagles offense. What do you think?
It is a very good situation. Good matchups across the board, and they got players for you to go after. I like that idea.
They have the Seahawks. They play the Jets, the Washington football team, and the Rams. What do you think there?
Let's see. Can you repeat that for me real quick?
Seahawks play the Jets, Washington, and the Rams.
Yeah, I mean, this is great. You can go on the offensive side. You could even think defensive side of the football. That's where I would probably go more often than not. I mean, going against the Jets, Washington football team, and the Rams. The Rams are a little bit shaky, but they give up sacks and turnovers. You saw that last week against Miami.
Yeah, that's true. They certainly do. And we'll say the Washington football team, they can put up some points.
They can, but I mean, right now, we're not really even sure who's going to be the starting quarterback a few weeks past. And I mean, other than Terry McLaurin, I'm not too impressed with that team.
Antonio Gibson's showing out.
He's starting to come up on his own, but the team around him isn't quite there yet.
That's for sure.
Yes, the only doubt or downside to this is right now in half point PPR, Metcalf and Lockett, the wide receiver 1 and 2, and Chris Carson, he's doing great himself. It'd be difficult to trade for those players. You'd have to give up a whole lot.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. Baltimore Ravens, Browns, Jaguars, Giants. That's a great schedule.
Baltimore Ravens, Browns, Giants.
Browns, Jags, Giants.
That is a good matchup in itself. Weak run defenses for a team that really wants to run the ball. The only issue is do you want Mark Ingram? He's currently hurt. J.K. Dobbins or Gus Edwards. I feel like the best matchup for this is just Lamar Jackson.
If healthy, I want Mark Ingram.
You want Mark Ingram?
I still want Mark Ingram this year when he's healthy.
Okay, so what would you give up for a Mark Ingram? Say I have him and you want him.
And you know what? I think Mark Ingram is probably going to be on waivers.
In a lot of leagues, he is on waivers.
I think you just pick him up. I would not trade for Mark Ingram because you don't know if he's going to get healthy. I'm saying a healthy Mark Ingram would be great in these 3 matchups, but I don't know if he's going to be healthy, so I'm not going to pretend to offer anything for him.
That is fair. I mean, I just checked a handful of leagues myself, and he is currently available in a majority of them.
Yeah, he's out there a lot. The Browns, at least for weeks 15 and 16, they have the Ravens in week 14. You don't want to play the Browns there, but in week 15 and 16, they get the Giants and the Jets.
If you see the Giants and the Jets, then you typically want a player on that roster. I mean, Nick Chubb should be back. He should get a healthy running dose. I mean, they are still a playoff contending team, so they're probably going to be fighting pretty hard. Rashad Higgins is going to be a guy I think people should be looking at for these matchups. He was doing very well when OBJ was on the roster, and now that he's not on there, I think he could show out.
Do you think you could trade for Nick Chubb for cheaper now that he's been out for so long?
So it's kind of goes by team scenario. If the guy who owns Nick Chubb is currently on the downtread, the bottom tiers of the teams on the rosters, then he might give up Nick Chubb. But if I'm doing good and he's just going to enhance my lineup, it might be difficult to pry him away.
I think it's worth at least offering.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You always want to test the waters on whichever player that you're interested in and see what the opponent or the other team thinks he is worth, because it might always be lower than what you expected.
Right. Yep, for sure. Chiefs have a good playoff schedule for their offense anyway. Dolphins, Saints, and Falcons. They should put up 50 points in each one of those games.
Oh, God. So the Dolphins are going to be my little dark horse of a team. I think they got something going. I like them a lot. I think they're being coached very well, and I think they have a pretty good defense. I mean, you saw them surprise the Rams. Now, while I'm not putting the Chiefs on the Rams level, I think the offense has a lot of similarities.
Yeah, I totally agree. Titans have a decent path through the fantasy playoffs. Jaguars, Lions, and Packers. And then the Packers as well. Lions, Panthers, and Titans.
So for the Titans, I mean, A.J. Brown, he's must start. Derrick Henry is must start. Other than that, how comfortable do you feel with Corey Davis?
Not at all.
Not at all? I mean, he's been playing past 2 weeks, he's been playing pretty good. Would you want to see more consistency?
He has, but at the same time, I think as soon as he has a down week, people are going to drop him again, which is exactly what happened.
Yes, but when you're a heavy targeted wide receiver too, it's difficult because, I mean, chances are he's going to be in your flex or wide receiver 3 position. So, I mean, when you're the wide receiver 2, I feel like people need to kind of temper expectations.
Yeah, they do, but they still see Corey Davis has such a negative history of just falling flat. He'll have, like a good week and then fall flat for 8 weeks. I fully expect him to start hitting waivers again after he has another bad week. I don't think you need to trade for Corey Davis is what I'm trying to say.
Okay. I mean, he is right now 60% owned in Yahoo leagues.
Mm-hmm.
You can probably, if it is a competitive league, you might need to go after him. But of course, like you said, I think I'd rather stick with other options.
Yeah, just like him and Ingram, I think just pick them up. They'll be on waivers for you.
Yeah, that's definitely fair.
I also looked at not the teams that had the easiest win for the individual team, because when we think of like an easy win for a team, that more leads it to the running back that you want, because the team is going to be up and they're going to be running the ball. So the Eagles, you want Miles Sanders on your team, or maybe pick up Boston Scott in case Miles Sanders gets hurt again. Seahawks, you obviously want Chris Carson and apparently DJ Dallas, who killed it last week. Or Carlos Hyde. Ravens, You want one of those 3. You want Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt anyway. Le'Veon Bell, you might want to see if you can't get Le'Veon Bell for cheap. He's, still not the number 1 guy in Kansas City, but he's going to get some work. And for the Packers, maybe Jamal Williams.
Jamal Williams has been a fantastic and good RB2. He's not the most fantasy relevant when Aaron Jones is there, but he is a very productive back in the NFL. Sometimes a running back. He is not. He's NFL relevant, not quite fantasy relevant. I think I want to put him there.
Yeah, I like it. I also went through though and looked at teams who I thought had shootout schedules. Is how I called it, or how I put it.
Okay.
Where all three matchups are, well, each one of these could be just, 40 points on each side. The Lions, Packers, Bucks, and Titans. Those could be three very high scoring games. So Kenny Golladay, he's had a down year. He's going to be out this year. The Kenny Golladay owner might be down on him. I would say try to target Kenny Golladay.
Does Matthew Stafford being out right now scare you?
No, because Stafford being out right now, Golladay is going to be out right now anyway.
Okay, so I would like to hear a little bit more information on Golladay, because right now we know he's out this week. We don't know if he's out any longer than that. Hips, they could be a little difficult to judge. I don't want to trade for him. Personally, I would not recommend trading for him until more information comes out.
No, you don't think so?
It's hard because you can trade, and then all of a sudden it comes out that he has a hip pointer or he has a serious injury, because unfortunately not too much blood flow goes to the hip, so it's harder for it to heal compared to other bones in the body.
Correct. That just might mean you can get him cheap though.
You can definitely try to reach out, dip your toes in, and see what you can get. So it's like gambling right now for Kenny Golladay. If you trade for him now, it could really benefit you. He could be back next week, or he could be gone for a much longer period of time. If you feel like you can comfortably gamble that, then it could win you the league. Just that alone.
Would you trade Antonio Gibson for Kenny Golladay?
Yes.
Robert Woods?
No.
No?
No,
you take
Robert
Woods over Golladay.
Yeah, Woods right now, he's playing some pretty good football.
Justin Jefferson.
I'd rather have Golladay.
Me too.
Yeah.
Just kind of feeling you out here, seeing where
that's a good gauge. I like that a lot.
The Chiefs have 3 games. We just talked about them that could be shootouts. Dolphins, Saints, and Falcons. I don't know if the Dolphins game will be a shootout. That might just be a blowout on the Chiefs side of the ball. Ooh. But Chiefs, Saints, and Chiefs, Falcons.
So is there a scenario where you ever bench a player on the Chiefs, such as like Tyreek Hill, Mahomes?
Not in week 16 or before.
Exactly. Which, the only thing after that is like N'Keal Hardman or Sammy Watkins. Would you be comfortable starting any of those players?
Against the Dolphins, sure.
The Saints?
No.
Falcons?
Nope.
Okay, so we're mostly looking for that quick 1-week playoff game.
Yeah, just against the Dolphins, which could, like I said, that's more blowout than shootout in my opinion.
Ooh, okay. I completely agree. That is definitely fair.
So I see that as more of like the Clyde Edwards-Helaire or the Le'Veon Bell, getting some work game right there. Less wide receiver. I think the wide receivers, Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce as well. Maybe N'Keal Hardman. They're gonna help the Chiefs get up early, and then they're just going to run the ball.
Yeah, those ones I'm expecting big running back games out of them. But I do want to point out that the Saints, they have not had a 100-yard rusher since November 17th, 2017. They think they are at a 48-game streak without allowing a 100-yard rusher. So I do think we should temper some expectations on CEH if he goes against the Saints.
Yeah, I could agree with that. I think the Colts have a pretty good chance of having shootouts to end the season. Raiders, Texans, and Steelers.
How comfortable are you starting somebody like Jonathan Taylor against the Steelers?
I think you still have to play Jonathan Taylor if you have him.
I think he has earned a must-start tag. He has, there is a lot of competition. Wilkins, he played pretty good football. Hines, he played pretty decent as well. You are the Colts fan. Was this a 1-week wonder for them, or do you consider that a season-long thing?
Well, we did have that news that came out the next day from Frank Reich saying that Jonathan Taylor has a bit of an ankle issue, which I don't know how true that is. He said, I just learned about it after the game. Maybe Jonathan Taylor was like, hey, I just ran for, 22 yards and 11 carries. Hey, coach, I'm feeling bad.
Ouch. his yards per carry and his production, I feel like, is a little underwhelming considering his potential role in one of the best offensive lines in football.
Yeah, it is, but at the same time, the Colts were up by a lot, and they were up the entire game. So why? You're clearly looking like a playoff team. They're sitting at 5-2. They're tied for first in the division with the Titans, looking like they're going to be, have a chance to get to the playoffs. Why risk your star future running back by running him into the ground when you don't need to?
I think that's a fair assessment. I think so. Do you right now going into this week, just for curiosity reasons, would you start Wilkins or Hines?
I would say Hines.
They go against, I believe, the Ravens.
Yep. Definitely Hines against the Ravens. Actually, this week, the great Marcus Grant and I did the great debate over Nyheim Hines versus Zach Moss. Mm-hmm. And I think as good as the Colts defense is, I think the Ravens, they can get up on anybody. Their offense is just so good. They can get up on anybody. And if they do, it's not going to be Jonathan Taylor and Jordan Wilkins in that backfield with Phillip Rivers trying to play catch up. It's going to be Nyheim Hines.
Mm-hmm. That's fair. To be honest, I would rather go Zach Moss, but I mean, that's for a different topic, different discussion.
In that debate. Yeah. He's a big Zach Moss believer. So he's like, yep, I want that side.
There we go. Okay.
But at the same time, Zach Moss had those 2 touchdowns on 14 carries for 81 yards, I believe it was. Devin Singletary had 14 carries for 86 yards and a touchdown. So he played just as well.
Yeah, I think that is a product of the New England run defense. It is not very good. And you saw the Niners 2 weeks ago absolutely obliterate them through the run. I think it's just the matchup that they were both able to take advantage of.
Sure. Yep, absolutely. The Raiders, potential shootout schedule here as well. Play the Colts, the Chargers, and the Dolphins. Now, I said that the Chiefs are going to blow out the Dolphins. I don't think the Raiders will blow out the Dolphins. I think the Dolphins will be able to keep up with the Raiders.
Other than Josh Jacobs, is there any, and Darren Waller, I should add, is there anybody else on the Raiders that you would feel comfortable starting in a playoff scenario?
I would play Derek Carr if it's a super flex, even if he was my third quarterback.
Derek Carr's been playing some pretty good football lately. I'd feel pretty comfortable with that.
I wouldn't want him as my quarterback 1. I don't know if there's any one quarterback league out there with Derek Carr starting.
It'd have to be a big Raiders fan or somebody completely playing a specific matchup that thinks he can take.
Or a bye week and they picked him up or something. Mm-hmm. Yeah, injuries. 100%. Henry Ruggs. I'll say Ruggs.
I mean, he is a Deshaun Jackson type player. That's difficult. That's tough. You can probably put him as a flex, as a high boom player. In a playoff scenario when it's one and done, that's difficult.
What about, you said comfortable playing or willing to play? Because I think there's a difference between comfortable and willing. I'm willing to play Henry Ruggs. I'm not comfortable playing Henry Ruggs.
I would look at other options.
Okay. Would you play Renfro over Ruggs?
I would stay away from the Raiders offense entirely.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Titans have a 3-game schedule to end the season, the fantasy season, I should say, that could be shootouts as well. Jaguars, Lions, and Packers. Jaguars, they're 1-6, but they are a division team, and they beat the Colts this season. So the Colts just can't seem to win in Jacksonville for like the last 5 years or something like that. It's real weird. The Jaguars' only win is against the Colts. But, they do know the Jaguars very well. The Jaguars know the Titans very well. It could be high scoring there. Lions can put up points when everybody is healthy. The Packers, we know when everybody's healthy or even when everybody's not healthy, can still put up points. So I think this could be a shootout. So I think A.J. Brown should be a trade target. You might have the AJ Brown owner in your league who is getting nervous about the did not practice every single Thursday for 3 weeks in a row. Try going to him and seeing if you can't, you might have to pay, you're not going to lowball for AJ Brown. You're obviously going to lowball to start, right? You're not going to blow him away with your first offer. You might have to overpay a little bit, but I think it would be worth it for his end of the season schedule.
AJ Brown is a magnificent wide receiver. I think very highly of him. I think he is a wide receiver 1 and a top 10 receiver. You want AJ Brown on your fantasy roster. I think that it should be a clear cut go after him. And this is a Titans team that is going to be looking for playoffs. They're going to be making playoff pushes. They're going to be playing competitively at week 14, 15, and 16. So you don't necessarily have to worry about, are the backups going to come in?
Right. So looking at the shootout schedules here, give me your top 3 players you would think to trade for. I'm going to take AJ Brown. I'm going to claim that one.
Oh, that's not fair. Okay. Okay, so I want Kenyon Drake.
Okay.
Yes, he goes against the last ending of the season is the Giants, Philly, San Francisco, and then the Rams. And now he gets time to rest, so he's going to be healthy coming into the end of the season. And he hasn't been the most productive running back, but he has been a productive running back when healthy. It doesn't hurt your roster to have an RB in your starting lineup.
So you're taking Kenyon Drake.
Yes, especially since he's hurt and he's been disappointing. Some people might want to part away for him for some play now players, and you might be able to snag yourself.
So like I said, I was going to take AJ Brown. Why don't you give me your second player?
Okay, my second player is going to be Will Fuller. I mean, he's the wide receiver 1, and we thought he might get traded, but he did not get traded, and now, unfortunately, he's stuck on that roster. So now he has to show out for every other team that might be potentially looking at him. And because of that, he is a deep threat. He's an intermediate threat. He goes against for what I'm looking at is the Colts and the Bengals for those final week matchups.
I think my second player to trade for. Now, I talked about Kenny Golladay, who I think would be a great guy to at least approach the Kenny Golladay owner, but someone who, even might be on waivers, but you can still get really cheap if he's not. Marvin Jones. In case Kenny Galladay's injury is a little bit more serious, going against the Packers, Titans, and Bucks, there's a chance the Lions are going to have to put up points. And Marvin Jones played great against the Colts this past week. We know what Marvin Jones can do. He can have, 200 yards and 4 touchdowns. Not saying he will. You can't bank on that, obviously. But if Kenny Golladay is hurt, he's easily the second best wide receiver on the team.
Oh, yeah. And even with Kenny Golladay out or in, it still benefits Marvin Jones. The only question is are you willing to hold him from now all the way to the end of the year, especially now that it might be difficult to start him or put him in your lineup right now?
That's a good question. If you trade for him before the deadline, for the playoffs, you do have to hold him.
Exactly.
I'm going to say I would. If I traded for him, I would.
Yeah, I feel like if you trade for him, then you're kind of stuck with him for a little bit.
Yeah, you have to. Yep. Give me your third guy here.
So we talked about the defense of Seattle earlier. You could probably pick this up on waivers, which I think is an even plus because you don't have to give up any type of player for the Seattle defense. But when you go against the Jets, Washington football team, and the Rams, you have a very solid floor in a matchup against those teams. A lot of people think right now Seattle defense is subpar, but if you actually look at their fantasy points production, they're one of the best.
And for defense, for me, I don't think you need to trade for them. I don't like trading for defenses. I think that's bad advice. But check your waivers each week. If the Eagles are available and you're willing to hold 2 defenses until week 16 when they play the Cowboys, that's who I would have.
I mean, let's face it. If you are looking for the playoffs push right now, you have a pretty good team, or you should have a very solid team. So a lot of the times, a lot of the players, they're just not going to benefit you if they're not complete upgrades.
Right. Yep.
And you might be able to hold people like defenses or stash players or handcuffs for that reason.
Any other player here you think might be a good trade option just based on playoff matchups alone?
So I want to put Stephon Diggs as a trade away option because with John Brown coming back and he's starting to come on his own in this offense, I think he's going to lose some targets, lose some production, lose some value. And if I look at the teams he's going against, as I just lost it a second ago, he goes the Steelers, Broncos, and the Patriots. The Steelers, week 14, that's a difficult and tough matchup for him. Broncos, that's a little bit easier for him, but then the Patriots, he's going to see Stephon Gilmore. That might be a little bit difficult for him.
I would say trade away DJ Chark. Titans, Ravens, and Bears to end the season.
Yeah, that is difficult.
You're not going to want to play him.
No, right now they got quarterback issues, offensive issues.
Yep.
That's difficult.
All right. Well, anything else you want to say about the playoff schedule? Or
I hope everybody listening is making it to the playoffs.
Yes. And you know what? If you listen to this show, there's a good chance you did.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, if you listen to our advice, you should never lose.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. All right, guys. Well, I think that is going to wrap it up for this week's show. Nader, once again, thanks for joining me, man. This is a blast every Thursday with you. Why don't you tell people where they can find you?
Of course, one of these Thursday episodes, they're definitely the highlight of my week. Of course, you can find me at my own fantasy podcast at Top Tier Tactics, where we go over a lot of analytic-based and starts and sits matchups. You can find me at Twitter at Top Tier Tactics _ or on Instagram at TTT Fantasy Football.
And you can follow the Sleeper Wire Show on Twitter at Sleeper Wire Show. I'm on there at Prof _ Chris SW, and you can get at me on the Sleeper app as well at Professor Chris. Nader, this was fun as usual. Everybody, thanks for tuning in. We'll catch you guys next week.
Good luck, everybody.